All right, how's it going, guys? It's Steve again, Interglobal Comics. Been slacking on the market reports, just like everybody. Been busy with holidays and family and work, so I haven't really had time to make a video in a little while. So I've got a number of sales to get through here, including pretty much, I guess, be one of the record foreign comic sales. Happened a few weeks ago. Highest price of at least a major foreign comic character that has recently sold. But we'll get to that when we get to it. So this is the this right here, Superman 1 from Spain. So one of these sold at Heritage Auction for $3,000, and it was a 2.0. So that instantly had a ripple effect on the Spanish marketplace, and these, which were selling for as little as $100, maybe a couple $100 for a really nice copy, they've gone up exponentially in value. Now they're selling for $1,000. Multiple sales at $1,000. The top one you can see was actually $1,000 for all 16 issues, the complete series, and then the bottom one was just for the number one. So pretty interesting. So I guess really the U.S. market does have a very quick effect on the foreign market. So word got out about that Heritage sale for this book, because that was a very good sale for that Superman comic. So here we go. This was the big sale, but this was the original sale for $200. This is the book that randomly showed up on eBay, and Josh from International Comics was able to press it, send it to CGC, and flip it. Here, let me see, so I don't skip around too much. So he listed it for $40,000, which, I think a majority of us just kind of thought, all right, that's going to just sit on eBay for a few months and he'll get a few good offers on it. But within a few hours, he got an offer for $35,000, and he took it, which was a no-brainer. So huge sale for that book. This is a book that has been selling in the 1,000, and then multiple thousands, and then 15,000, and now 35,000. So compared to the one that sold on Heritage a couple months ago, that was like a pretty low grade copy. I think like a 2 or 3, and it sold for 15,000. So 6.5 to sell, already graded for 35,000. It's a huge sale, but that just kind of cements that this is the king of the foreign books. I guess I think it's only going to just kind of go up in value from here. There's been a couple others since this sale that have been listed. One, which is the second highest in the registries of CGC or not registries, but on the census of CGC and CBCS. I think it's a 8.0 or 8.5, and then I think it was a 7.0 was listed as well. But one was for like $150,000 or $100,000, and the other one was for $75,000. So we'll have to that'll just if those sell, that'll be just game over for this book. It's just gonna be at this point almost unattainable unless you're in the millionaire bracket. But either way, great sale for Josh. Basically one sale, he pretty much fully funded his foreign comic flipping business that he's been doing for the last year or so, and it's definitely he's taken this on as his career, so it's worked out well for him, especially with this sale. That's pretty much, there's no way you could say this year was a failure with basically a $34,000 profit right there. That's what some people make in a year. So good sale for sure, and a great sale for the foreign comic community in general. Bad sale if you're still looking to buy that book. All right, so this was a Captain America #1 from Australia. I had never seen one of these before. Pretty cool, from 1954, so golden age book. Not like a key cover or anything, but just a really, really cool book. This one went pretty big and went for $1,379 with 10 bids from Australia. So, cool book. And they actually listed issue 2 after this one. I don't know if I caught what that sold for or not, but I'm sure it was pretty desirable and pretty high as well. Australian price variant, first Deadpool, New Mutants 98, 9.2. I feel like that seems kind of low for the Australian price variants. Those are normally, go for real high premium, but I haven't really tracked it, so I don't know for sure. Simpsons 1, Australia, sold for $23. Howard the Duck #1 from Jaffa, sold for $93. This one always kind of seems to bring a surprising amount of money. I've seen a couple sell in the $50, $60 range, and I thought that was kind of high. And then $100, I guess there's the guys that just are really hunting this book down. Kind of a cool Australian Golden Age comic book from the 1950s, Batman 44, sold for $271. I'm not quite sure what the American equivalent numbering would be. That's the Australian number, but great cover. I love that old Batmobile. Looks really cool. Fantastic Four #5. This was a really rough copy. I'm not sure if it had the poster or not. I'd have to go back and look. It sold for $360. For whatever reason, this book is pretty tough to find. And as with most Newtons, you just got to double check there's a poster in there. If the poster's not in there, then it typically is worth at least, half as much, I would say. Brazilian Golden Age. I don't know much about this one. Just kind of a cool cover, though, from 1948. So these Spider-Man, this is the original chromium foil Spider-Man 300. So this is the one that came out a few years ago, sold for $89, which compared to the new Spider-Man 300 foil that came out, which seems to be going for quite a bit more than that. For me, I would want to go with the older one, not the newer one, but that's just me. And here we've got Spider-Man 1, McFarlane foil from Mexico, a new one for $99. So basically at this point, I think whoever's publishing these books in Mexico has just realized, like, hey, this is like a cash cow. So now they're gonna take every key comic, foil it, and send it out, and the Mexicans will get them for $10. They'll flip them for $50 to $100, and the Americans will get them and flip them for $100 to $300. So it just kind of seems to be the game that's being played right now. And it's interesting to me to see that these foil, fresh off the press books are coming and getting more money than some vintage comics. But to each their own. So here's Spider-Man 300 from Mexico, 9.8, sold for $470. This says limited to 500, which is not true. It's actually limited to 1,000, which I would take that with a grain of salt. Spider-Man 194 from 1983, first appearance of Black Cat, sold for $65. Edge of Spider-Verse 2 from 2014, $45, and then Harley Quinn 1 sold for $89. Avengers 1, this is the Novedades, which was printed in the early 80s. This was the one that there was two sales earlier this year for over $1,000 for this comic, which I thought was insane, made no sense. So it's, this is probably about more where it should be priced at, and obviously this was an auction, so this is kind of like what the market would value this book at. So, feel bad for those guys that overpaid for it. These Novedades aren't extremely rare, they are from the 80s, but nonetheless, they are very cool books. I enjoy collecting them. They're fun books, as long as you realize that they were printed after the La Prensa run. Here's another one, Avengers 4 Novedades. Oops. This one sold for $154. Great colors on these Mexican Novedades comics. Another one for $68. Avengers 57. Here's a pretty rare book that popped up and sold. It was Luke Cage, the Macc Mexican. This was a 5.0 slabbed, $3.99. So yeah, it's a pretty solid sale. I'm not sure what a 5.0 American copy would sell for, but I wouldn't think it would go for that much. I don't really keep track of Luke Cage Here for Hire 1, but I'll have to look into it. But I'm pretty sure this definitely sold more. The Mexican version sold for more than the U.S. version would. And rightfully so, because it is way more rare and way harder to find. Fantastic Four #1 from Novedades sold for $178. Pretty good price. I think I paid more for mine a few years ago. So some of these books at auction are going for pretty good deals. $178 for Fantastic Four #4 Novedades. So someone is really clearing out their Novedades collection. Fantastic Four 48 and 49, 96 for 48, 86 for 49. This is the French Amazing Spider-Man #1, and this is from 1963, but I'm pretty sure this was printed later than that. I'll have to double check. I'm pretty sure on the cover it says like 1969 right there. But I have this. I'll have to double check. Actually, no, never mind. I don't have this. I sent mine to CGC. So when I get it back from CGC, I'll have it. But this one sold for less than $150, which is pretty cheap, but it does appear to have tape along the spine, so that's probably part of the reason it sold for so cheap, because these, even in France, tend to sell for a couple $100s at a minimum, depending on condition. You used to be able to find these for about, I'd say, $200 for a pretty nice copy, maybe a little bit less, but now they're I would assume they're probably gone up in value quite a bit. But interesting that this guy has a couple copies. I don't know if this is the same one. This must be the same one. Yeah. So it sold for $120. So this is the one with the tape on the spine. This was a run of Star Wars from Canada, the Heritage French-Canadian comics. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 sold for almost $500. So no #1 there, which would be the one that most people really want. But cool just to get the kind of the full run of the story there. So I don't know if this guy just listed this book multiple times, because here we have the same, looks like the same exact comic, sold for $135. So I'm not sure what's going on with that one. Here's a pretty low grade copy of Ghost Rider 1 from Spain, and I'm not sure why they have it listed as Marvel Spotlight. So this one might get returned because it's obviously Ghost Rider 1. It doesn't contain Marvel Spotlight or Ghost Rider 1 inside. So whoever bought that might be kind of disappointed when they get it. Obviously they could look at the cover and realize that it's not Marvel Spotlight 1, or it's Marvel Spotlight 5. But cool book nonetheless. I've got a pretty nice one I need to sell. I'm just kind of waiting until after the holidays, and I'm going to list a bunch of stuff on eBay probably. I've been pretty much selling strictly on Instagram, but I'm taking way less money than probably I could get for books. Obviously eBay is the place to get the maximum amount of money. But once the new year comes around, I'll have a fresh eBay account where I don't have to worry about overgoing my tax limits, and I'll sell a few books on there. Bunch of French-Canadian keys were listed. Spider-Man 122 for $30, which seemed pretty cheap, but I do believe that one was pulled from a bind. I think all of these were pulled from a bind. Master Kung Fu 1, First Shang-Chi, and Power Warlock 1. Just cool books. This, I don't even know what the hell this is. I've seen people talking about this, like in the American comic podcasts. So Captain America 1, it's I guess an Alex Ross cover, but getting big money, 346, and I've seen since these sold, I've seen more sell. So I guess this is something people are going after. The Italians, they tend to make the best looking foil covers, from all the countries I've seen. Let's see, Batman 171, first appearance of Riddler, sold for 190. That looks like a really nice copy. These are like magazine sized, so they tend to be pretty beat up. So this copy was very nice. So probably not a bad buy on that one. Pretty cheap price on a Italian Daredevil. These typically sell for much more than this on the American market, so someone got a great deal there. A bunch of Fantastic Four Italian books, not really even keys, maybe more minor keys I would call them. Selling for a pretty decent amount though. 120, 80, 100, another one for 75. So these kind of vintage, foreign back issues still have some legs. These are books I regret not just, I guess, stacking. I would just leave these books behind for a couple dollars a piece, and to see now that they're selling for this much is pretty impressive. Here's more. Fantastic 3 sold for 90, another 16 for 70, 49 sold for 110, and this one's actually pretty cheap. Fantastic 448 for some reason sold for only $100. This is just not a key really. At least the cover's not a key, but it says First Clash with Joker. So I'm thinking it reprints inside the first appearance of the Joker. Sold for $125, which this book I know for a fact you used to be able to buy for a couple dollars, or just a couple dollars, maybe $10 on eBay Italy. So that's one to kind of maybe take a look on eBay Italy to see if there's any hanging around for cheap still. This is the Spider-Man 1 from Italy. They use this crazy cover. They didn't use the original Spider-Man 1 cover. I believe this contains AF-15 on the inside and Spider-Man 1. I'm not sure how I feel about the cover, but this is actually the reprint from the 90s. So you got to be careful. They did reprint it. And there's no price on it in what's it called, lire, I think it was, which is the old Italian currency. So that's how you would tell the difference. This has no price on it at all. Cliffhanger 12, Danger Girl. I think this is like a foreign only cover. And it always sells for a pretty high amount. This one went for $143. Spider-Man 3 from Italy sold for $159. This was a pretty crazy sale. Avengers 8 sold for $250. This is the German edition. Tomb of Dracula 10, a 6.5, sold for $550. This is the German edition. Great looking book. 6.5. I'm sure there's much higher graded copies, but it's just a solid copy. Pretty surprising that this sold for $550, this sold for $240, and here we go. We've got Fantastic Four #1 only sold for $199. For whatever reason, this book has to catch up. This does say best offer accepted, so I'm not sure. Maybe the offer was much higher than that, but I think a couple market reports ago I showed that some of these have sold on the German market for $400 or $500 now, so the American market really probably needs to catch up. There's that sale again. All right, so this is the Polish edition of Spider-Man 238. So stuff from Poland is definitely not too easy to track down. This wasn't like the highest graded, nicest copy, highest grade copy, but still, anything from Poland is going to be pretty tough to track down. So definitely a good idea to probably jump on it. This is a 9/4 Star Wars 1 from the UK. Looks like it was a private listing, but it sold for $319. This was a Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, 106, the Brazilian edition, sold for $75. Looks like a pretty good looking copy too. This was a couple of the Jamie or Jaime Cortez, I think they call him. He's like the horror artist from Brazil, Golden Age, great, amazing, beautiful art covers. So these both sold for about $100, which is solid. But I'm pretty sure these have sold for more. A couple years ago, there was quite a few guys that were tracking and hunting these down. But still, this was on American eBay, so it's good to see them get some exposure on the American market. This guy sold almost the complete set of Darth Vader 3 for less than $75, which just seems kind of stupid. This was the German, Italian, Brazilian, and Mexican. I feel like they could have gotten way more for this, but also, this book is just dropping like a rock in value on the American market. So I guess it's affecting the foreign ones, because I used to be able to sell these for $50-$60, no matter which country it was from. The Germans sold really well because they were in such good condition. The Mexican tended to be the hardest to find. There is I can't remember where it was from, Peru or Chile. I don't know. I found a new one, or I bought a new one for my set that I didn't even know existed, but I can't remember where it was from. I'll have to look it up. But if you look back in my feed, you'll see it'll be the last one that I posted. But it was from a South American country. This set looks like it's missing the Spanish one and probably a couple others. But that's really cheap. He sold this for what one of these issues would have sold for by itself. He sold 4. So I guess someone was just giving up on the set, or just trying to clear some space or make some money quick. So this was Incredible Hulk 181, purple label, CGC 6.0. Best offer accepted. The best offer was $550. I actually know the guy that sold this book, and he kind of consulted me. He was like, "Hey, do you think I should accept this offer for $550?" I said, 100% take it. Seeing that it's a restored book, I wouldn't. Most American collectors don't. They kind of snub their nose at restored books. So for $550, I think as of right now, that's still the highest price I think I've seen one of these sell for. In 6.0. It's a Brazilian book, hard to find in high grade, so 6.0 is a respectable grade. So for $550, I'm sure he's happy, because he lives in Brazil, so he probably found it for pretty cheap. Ghost Spider 1 9.4 from Mexico, sold for $500. Pretty really solid price on that one. Hey, this is the Los Four Fantásticos, which is the Fantastic Four number 8, first Puppet Master, sold for less than $100. Seems pretty cheap. Any of these early La Prensa Fantastic Four keys are going to be pretty tough to find. Tales to Astonish 93, the Mexican edition, CGC 8.0. So just a classic, like Silver Surfer, Reverse Hulk cover, sold for $784. So 8.0 is a nosebleed grade for a Mexican comic, especially one from the Silver Age. So it's definitely a cool book, and they must have found the right buyer that was just really wanted this comic, because to me it's a pretty hefty price, but it's also a pretty hefty grade. So it probably worked out pretty well. This was a 3.0 Amazing Fantasy 15 Italian edition, sold for $750. This one presents really well. $750. It says best offer accepted. I don't know if I checked the. Yeah, here we go. So actually sold for $700. So that's that's a solid sale. Yeah, these are very expensive on the European market, on the Italian market. You're going to be paying, for a nice copy, $300-$400, plus shipping it to the U.S. So seems like a good idea to try and find a nice copy and probably just hang on to it, because I think, with this being the earliest use of the Amazing Fantasy 15 artwork, I think this is going to be a highly desirable book as time goes on, even though it does not contain the guts of Amazing Fantasy 15 on the inside. Star Wars #1 from Italy, sold for $115. Pretty solid sale there. This is Spider-Man 4, the 1 in 25 Ramos, first appearance of Silk, $179. Still very surprised how much these are selling for. These were selling, I don't know, is this one slabbed? I don't think so. It doesn't say that it's slabbed. But these you could buy for $20-$30. Well, actually, you could buy them way less. You could buy these for $8 a pop, because it doesn't contain the story. It's Amazing Spider-Man 4 cover, but it's more of a modern 2021 comic on the inside. But yeah, these are selling for about $8 on German eBay, and then people caught wind of them, started buying them. There's only 333 printed, so I guess the scarcity did its thing, because these have sold for as high as $300. Which is surprising. I ordered quite a few of these, and I was selling them for $30 a piece. But it is what it is. I guess I should have hung on to at least one of them. Batman 423, the German edition, sold for $97. The McFarlane Batman classic cover. So it's kind of interesting to see the German reprint ASM 129 from 2000 sell for $99, and then the original from Williams Verlag from mid 1970s sold for about the same price. So for me, I'm gonna go with this one all day long. This is an actual vintage book. Pretty cool variation on the cover. This is a cool book as well, but it's more of just a modern reprint translation. So checking in on the Harley Quinn 1 from Germany, sold for $199. So I can't remember. I think that's the record for this one so far. Yeah, and I think when I started making these videos, they were selling for about $75 to $100, then $125 to $150, and now here we are in December, and now they're selling for $200. So they just keep going up in value. I've got one of these that, I don't know, for $200 I'd have to think pretty hard and maybe have to let it go. So this is Amazing Spider-Man 1 5.5 from Germany, sold for $640. Pretty solid sale. I don't know if I've seen one sell that high recently, and besides that, the nice copy that sold on German eBay for about $500. So here we have like a mid-grade copy that was already slabbed by CGC but sold for $640. So probably not a bad deal. This is another one that I feel like these German keys are still kind of underappreciated. I mean, they're highly collected, but they're not haven't really gone up in value as much as a lot of the other books. But I think that'll probably be changing as time goes on. 9/6 first appearance, or it's Hulk 181 first appearance of Wolverine, but this is the reprint edition from I think 2000. Same run as the ASM 129 I just showed you earlier. This one sold for $475, which seems really high. It's a 9/6, but it is a reprinted book from the 2000s. So I don't think they didn't use the Hulk 181 cover in Germany that I can remember. So I guess this would be the first time this cover was used in Germany. But still, it's a pretty high price for a not hard to find book. And probably pretty easy to find in decent condition. This was a sale that just happened. Heritage French Canadian ASM 361 sold for $91. This was kind of sitting at $20-$30 all the way up until the last day, and I was thinking about trying to pounce on it. I didn't, and it sold for $91, which seems like a pretty good price, and I'm pretty sure that went to John Z. I think he was the guy that won it. So congrats to him. Seems like a pretty good deal. Carnage is just kind of not selling any books these days right now, so hopefully that'll turn around, because he was always a really popular character when I was a kid. So it's just kind of a fun book to own. This I just thought was interesting. Thor Thunderstrike, Australian price variant. Someone paid $50 for this book. Yeah, I'm just surprised it sold, honestly. And this was just kind of like a cheesy book from the 90s. I'm not sure what the American version sells for. It can't be too much. So for the Australian price variant to sell for $50, I was pretty surprised by that. And that is it. So hopefully you guys saw some cool sales in there that you maybe didn't get to catch, or some of the stuff just slips through the cracks. But yeah, like I said, I've been real busy. I probably won't be making another video till after the new year. Maybe since I'll be home, I'll have the kids though, but I'll try and maybe make a couple other videos, but market reports are kind of hard to do at home, so I'll try and get something out here in the next few weeks. So have a great holiday, and I will see you guys later.